Hi guys, I'm James and this is Tahnee, and we are back with another fitness video to keep you going over the Christmas period while the gym is closed. Today we're going to take you through a bodyweight strength workout. You won't need much in the way of equipment, but you might need a bench or a sturdy chair, potentially with some pillows as well. Right, let's get cracking. Let's start with the warm-up. So we're going to start off with some glute bridges. So Tahnee's going to start off lying on her back. And then these are a nice glute activation exercise. So what we're going to do is push down through the heels, push the hips up, squeeze the glutes at the top, feel the glutes working, trying to wake them up. And we're going to go for 8 reps. And the thing to focus on, as I said, is feeling the work through the glutes. Ideally, not too much work in the hamstrings, in the back of the thighs, or the lower back. So we're focusing on not overextending and then just squeezing the glutes hard at the top. Very nice. We're going to go into some mobilizations next, and we're going to start with a downward dog. So that starts in a press up position. And then from here, we're going to push the hips as high as you can and focus on getting a nice big stretch right at the back of the leg. We hold that top position for a second at the top and down. And we're focusing on trying to keep those legs straight and the back as flat as possible. And as I said, we should be feeling that big stretch right at the back of the leg at the same time as opening up the shoulders. Really nice, very nice. And again, we're going to go for 8 reps on this one. Lovely stuff, really nice, well done. From there, we're going to go on to another mobilization. We're going to go into some groiners, or world's greatest stretch, as they're also called. So we're going to go back into a press-up position, this time just 5 on each leg. And we're going to plant one leg nice and high up outside the hand, and then reach up as high as you can overhead towards the ceiling. Very nice. And they often call this one the world's greatest stretch because it's stretching and mobilizing multiple different areas at the same time. So on that back leg, we're getting a bit of a stretch through the hip flexor, on the front leg, through the glute and through the groin and hamstring. And then we're getting some nice rotation through the upper back, through the thoracic spine as we reach up overhead. Really nice. Okay, great work. Then we're going to go into some overhead squats. So overhead squats, we're going to reach our arms up overhead, elbows straight, palms facing in, and you're going to try and hit a nice deep squat position, knees in line with the toes and the weight through the middle of the foot. Tahnee's got great mobility and really nice form, so don't worry if yours don't quite look like this at home. But this is sort of, you're going to try and go as deep as you comfortably can, maintaining this position, trying not to let the arms fall forward as you go down. But don't worry if they do fall down a little bit. Okay, we'll finish the warm-up with a multi-directional lunge. So what that looks like is one dynamic lunge forwards, and then push back to the start position, one out to the side, push back to the start, one backwards, and then we're going to change legs. So dynamic start, push back to the opposite side, very nice, and one backwards. Brilliant stuff, and there's our warm-up, guys. Okay, right, so on to our main workout, and the workout is going to consist of 3 supersets, okay? So supersets being where we pair one exercise up with another exercise. The first one we're going to try is a single leg squat, and this is what we've got this bench set up here for. So we've got this bench set up with a couple of blocks on, okay? So we're going to squat down to the bench, and we're going to use the bench as like a depth gauge, okay? So a higher bench would be slightly easier than a lower bench. Tahnee's going to give us a demo of a regular one to start off with, and then I'll talk about how we can regress that. Really nice. So she's going to squat down just until her bum just taps the bench there. Okay, rest up there for a second, Tahnee. So as I said, we can make that easier or harder by either adding blocks or adding pillows to reduce the range of motion, or we can make it harder by removing some of those. If that version is too hard for you, there is another regression that we could use, which is the kickstand version. Could you show us a couple of those? That's with that front foot, like just with a little bit of a weight on the heel. So here, the intention is still to load that right leg as much as possible, but you're going to use the left leg to assist a little bit with the stability and potentially a little bit with the strength. So essentially you're loading that working leg as much as you comfortably can. Okay, and then we're going to pair that up with some press ups. So could you show us a regular press up to start off with? So a regular press up would look like this, nice straight line. Okay, so this is a fantastic press up. That's really, really nice. It's a nice straight line from the head through to the heels. Now, if that's too tough, we've got some regressions for you. So we can go with a press up from the knee, which looks just like this. That's it. So again, lowering the chest, you see Tahnee's got this really nice like A-frame shape or arrowhead shape where the elbows are nice and tucked in. So that would be the easiest regression. There is a middle one that we can use to sort of bridge the gap between the two, which is where you do an eccentric press up, where you do the lowering phase of a press up and then you push up from the knees and then go back into another eccentric press up. Okay, fantastic. So those are our 2 exercises, and we're going to go for 2 sets of 10 reps each for each one, but we feel free to adjust that at home. So if 10 reps feels too hard, feel free to do less, or if 10 reps is easy, we can potentially do more repetitions, up to sort of 15 or even 20. Ready, Tahnee? Okay, let's go for it. Let's start off with a single leg squat. So as I said, we're going to do 10 reps of these. So focus on that slow lowering phase, really nice form, looks great. And the thing we're going to think about is trying to keep that knee in a nice neutral position, so knee in line with the toe throughout, and just watch that it doesn't collapse in at any point or fall in. Tahnee's doing a really good job of keeping that knee over the toe throughout. And the other thing to think about is keeping good pressure down through the heel and the ball of the foot. So sometimes what you'll find is that the weight wants to go onto the ball of the foot a little bit, so we've got to keep some pressure down on the heel. And Tahnee, we're going to do 10 reps of these. How's that? Yeah, making it look easy. Looks very good. Looks very good. Yeah, really nice. So again, we've got a couple of different ways of doing these. Tahnee's got quite a straight leg on that other leg. You can go with it more bent if you prefer. It's just whatever feels more comfortable. And again, nice neutral knee position. Tahnee's tempo is great in that she's not rushing the descent. It's like a nice controlled descent and push back up. Really nice. Okay, fantastic work. Let's go into the press-ups next. So which press-up version are you going to go with? Perfect, very good, very good. So we're going to try 10 full press-ups, nice and slow and controlled. Yeah, really nice. So again, we've got this nice A-frame, this nice tucked elbow position, and we're keeping a straight line from the head through to the heels, keeping those core muscles engaged. So press-ups are an underestimated exercise in that they are harder than most people think if we do them nice and strict with really good form. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, really nice. Well done, well done. Okay, let's go back into the single leg squat. So back into those first ones. How was the first set? 10 reps, easy, hard, about right?
About right.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So at home, depending on how that first set was, you can make it easier or harder by going with a lower box or a bigger box. Yeah, really nice. And all the box is there for is essentially acting like a depth gauge, so we can hit a consistent range of motion with every rep. So you can do this one without a box and just squatting down as low as feels comfortable and coming back up. But if you do have a box or a chair you can use, it does help. Yeah, really nice. I think we've made these too easy for you today. You're making these look super comfortable. Very good, very good. Yeah, looking good. So again, that nice neutral knee position, so knees staying in line with the toes, weight through the middle of the foot, so you've got some pressure down on the heel throughout, and a nice controlled tempo. Yeah, fantastic. Very, very good. Very, very good. Okay, then one more set of press-ups. Doing well. So at home you might find that you can't quite get 10 reps, and that's absolutely fine. I'd say if you could do any full ones, go for those full ones, even if it's sort of 3, 4, 5 reps. And then what you can do to finish off is then go to an easier version just to add a bit of volume in to get some extra reps in that way. Really nice form here, looking good. Yes, great stuff, well done, fantastic. Okay, on to our next pairing, and the first exercise is going to be a Bulgarian split squat, or a rear foot elevated split squat, which if you followed any of our lockdown fitness videos, you'll be very familiar with, because this is an exercise we used a lot. So what we do here is the back foot is going to be elevated on the bench, and what that does is it means we go through a slightly bigger range of motion than you would on a normal split squat. And it means you've got more of your body weight on that front leg. So Tahnee's just going to show us just a rep or two here. Yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice. Well done, well done. We won't tire you out too much. So yeah, so this one can be quite challenging. So if that is too tough, what we could do is a regular split squat instead with the back foot on the ground. If it's easy, we could do more reps or even add a pause in the bottom position. The next one is going to be a plank reach or a plank, so depending on how hard this one is. So Tahnee, if you show us a plank reach to start off with, and we'll go from the hands to start off with. So I'll show you a few different versions basically. So the feet are nice and wide, and this is like what they call like an anti-rotation and anti-extension exercise, because what we're trying to do is keep our hips and our shoulders nice and stable and stop too much twisting or rotating. That's great, Tahnee, that's absolutely brilliant. So the version from the press up position is slightly easier. There is a slightly harder one from the elbows. Can you show us that one as well? So again, same position, and the objective is the same, which is trying to keep the hips and shoulders perfectly level and stop any twisting or rotating. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant, well done. So both of those variations are quite tough. So what we'd say is if they're too tough, we could do a regular plank from the elbows instead. Okay, brilliant job. Let's go into those Bulgarian split squats. Okay, this one we're going to go for 12 reps on this one. So we're going to think about dropping the hips straight down, so dropping that back knee down towards the floor. The front leg is very much the working leg with this exercise, so you want to think about all the push coming from the front leg and trying to minimize any push off the back leg. So that back leg's just there for a bit of stability, and the front leg is doing all of the work. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. As I said at home, feel free to adjust the reps. Tahnee's making these look easy, but they are quite tough. They are quite a hard exercise, so if 12 reps is too tough, feel free to do less. Also, the way Tahnee's set up there is absolutely perfect in that if you put the front leg in place and then reach the back leg back, that's going to be much easier to stabilize than putting the back leg on first and then hopping into position. Really nice, looking good. A great tempo, nice slow control on the way down, positive on the way up, really nice. Fantastic, yeah, brilliant stuff. Okay, then we're going to go into the plank reach, and we're going to go like 6 reps in total, so kind of like 1 on each arm for 12. Which version you want to go with? Okay, cool, sounds good. So trick with this one, guys, is get into a nice wide base, so the hands are narrow and the feet are wide. And that's going to make it much easier to kind of resist that rotation. And the things we're focusing on are trying to keep the hips level and not letting the hips drop down. So if the hips drop down, we're going to take some of the emphasis off the abdominal muscles, and we're going to shift some of that load to the lower back, which we don't want. We want the abdominals and the obliques doing all of the work. So hips stay level and hips stay in a nice line, so that the hips, so that the head to the heels is a nice straight line. Fantastic, yeah, very nice. You made those look easy. Okay, let's go back into the Bulgarian split squats. Let's go for another set of these. So same things apply that were applied with the single leg squat, in that we want this nice neutral knee position, so knee in line with the toe throughout, and we never want to get into a position where the knee falls inwards. Yeah, and that other one being keeping a full foot pressure down, so you've got some pressure down through the heel as well as the ball of the foot, because as I say, there's often a tendency to rock onto the ball of the foot as we go. But again, Tahnee's making these look very nice, very comfortable, great stuff. Very nice. So we've gone for 12 reps as kind of like a mid-range, but you feel free to go higher at home if it's easy, or as I said, we can add pauses at the bottom. Really nice. And we've done all of these exercises as body weight exercises, so no kit is required, but if you did have some light dumbbells, you can hold them in the hands, either in like one in each hand or in a goblet position. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Very, very good, very good. Okay, one more set of the plank reaches. So the trick with these ones, be nice and slow and controlled, little pause in the top position. That's it, lovely stuff. Looking good, and again, the aim is to keep those hips perfectly level, so stop any rocking or twisting or rotating. Again, Tahnee's making them look easy, but they're not, they're tough. Yeah, really nice, well done, well done. Okay, so that's that pairing done, so now we're on to our last pairing, so our last 2 exercises. And up last, we've got a single leg hip thrust and some electors, which is a core exercise. So single leg hip thrust, this is what you want to use your bench or your chair for, but I'll show you another one if you don't have anything suitable. So we're going to set up in the position where the corner of the bench or the corner of your chair is just under the shoulder blade. So that's where you're sort of pivoting from, and we want all of your weight on the back, so nothing on your arm. So this position is perfect. And you can test that position out by doing a couple of double leg hip thrusts, if you like, just to make sure you're in a good position. So this is the movement, basically pushing the hips up and squeezing the glutes at the top. Okay, that's great, Tahnee. So from there, we're going to go with a single leg hip thrust. So you're going to bring one foot slightly more centrally, and then you're going to lift one leg up in the air, and then you're going to pivot and hinge on that one hip. Just a couple of reps is fine for the demo. That's brilliant. Thank you. I'm going to tie you out for the work set. So that's our exercise. They are harder than they look. Okay, so again, Tahnee's making them look easy, but that is a tough exercise. So we're gonna aim for 10 reps, but at home, don't worry if you're only getting 5 reps or 6 reps. That's absolutely fine. And for some of you, that might be too tough altogether. So if that is too tough, we can do a single leg glute bridge instead, which wouldn't require a bench. Can you just show us a single leg glute bridge quickly? So this literally on your back. So just like the glute bridges we did in the warm up, but essentially the one-legged version of. So you're gonna hold one hip in the air and bridge up. So essentially this was a little bit easier. It hasn't got such a big range of motion, and you have the elevating of the back makes it a little bit more challenging with a single leg hip thrust. So that's our first exercise. The second one are the electors, which is kind of a progression on a dead bug. So this is really a core exercise for the abdominal muscles. So we're going to start off in this position, this tucked position where the lower back is into the floor. And that's the most crucial thing with this exercise, is that lower back stays pushed into the floor throughout, and we never get any arching in this position. And then from here, Tahnee's going to reach her arms up overhead, extend her legs, keeping the lower back pushed into the floor, and then tuck back into this position. So Tahnee is really strong and can use a really big range of motion here, but if that's too hard, we could reduce that and not quite kick the legs out as far and not quite go as far back. You just show us a slight exactly, just like this. So essentially you're working within a range that you can keep that control of your pelvic and rib position and keep that lower back pressed into the floor. And again, that one we're going to go with that 10 reps for. Okay, ready? Should we start with a single leg hip thrust? Okay, let's go for it. So again, we want the corner of the box just under the shoulder blades. So it's a great position. And then we're going to hinge down, push the hips up, and we want to focus on squeezing the glute to feel as much of the work as possible in your bum. You probably might get a little bit in the hamstring as well, in the back of the thigh. That's also okay because that muscle is assisting in the hip flexion, in the hip extension, sorry. But we want to try and get the glutes working as much as possible. Really nice. And again, it is a deceptively tough exercise, this one. It's, especially if you're doing it for the first time, you probably find it quite challenging. Okay, great stuff. So we're doing 10 reps here, but feel free to do fewer at home. We could do 5 reps, 6 reps. Some of you might even find it comfortable, and if that's the case, you can go higher on the reps, so even up to 15 or even 20. Really nice. And again, really nice, well done, well done. Okay, let's go into some of these electors. So 10 reps of these is quite hard, but we'll give it a go. And again, just working in a range that's comfortable for you. So starting in that tucked position, and that lower back stays pushed into the floor, really nice. So with the lower those arms and legs go, the harder it's going to be to maintain that position. So we're going to try and keep a consistent range with every rep. So the first one looks like the last one. But if you find that you're losing your back position, or your back starting to arch, or you're just feeling more of the work shifting from the abdominal muscles to the lower back, then feel free to stop at that point. Don't worry how many reps you've done there. Fantastic, yeah, really nice. Make those look easy. Okay, one more set of each of those, and that is our hard work done for the day. How were the first set of hip thrusts? Yeah, good, good, good. So that's really where we want to feel the exercise as much as possible, is in the glutes. As I said, you might get a little bit in the hamstrings. Also feeling it in the quads is quite common, especially at first. Sometimes we might get some co-contraction from the quads, so although the glutes and the hamstrings are extending the hip, the quads are still firing at the same time. Really nice. and you want to focus on pushing down through the heel. So a lot of the time what we'll get is people sort of rocking onto the ball of the foot with this one, but it's really important to push through the heel because that encourages the glute activation. Really nice. It's a great tempo. You've got a nice little pause at the top position. Fantastic stuff, very good. Okay, last exercise. How are the first set of these?
Yeah, tough.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly difficult exercise, right? Okay, so we're going to start in that tuck position. We're going as low as is comfortable and tucking back in. Yeah, really nice. And focusing on all of that work through the abdominal muscles and ideally nothing through the back. Great work, looking good, lovely tempo, controlled on the way down. Brilliant stuff. Okay guys, that is it, we're done for the day. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.